Hello, hello, hello. What's up? Welcome. We're live. I'm Dan. That's Matt coming to you from a corner of my house that is plugged into a router because it's so hot on the East Coast that it keeps shorting out my internet. Matt Modai, probably not dealing with that all the way out in Colorado. How are you, my friend?
I'm well. It's beautiful here. It was hot last weekend. Beautiful day in Colorado. So no internet issues here.
Well, before we get started, I have to ask you something, Matt. When you came to the live stream today, hold on. When you came to the live stream today, did you have that fire? When you got on the bus, did you have that fire in your belly? We're here to educate people.
Right.
We're not here to tank and throw away games. I just
That
want to
was
know how
a
you're feeling.
very impassioned speech that I can only imagine how well that would go in front of a team of NFL players. You didn't ask
Oh,
how I got to my office, so you didn't quite do it justice.
that's true.
But I had a cup of coffee, so I can say that there was a little bit of fire in my gut before the
Mhm.
live stream.
That's good to know. Bowel
Yeah.
issues.
Yep.
Delta Airlines on line one. I mean, before we really get started, over under how many games does Jonathan Gannon make it as the Arizona Cardinals head coach?
Well, if I honestly think it depends when they lock up the number one pick, because if there's a situation where they need a loss to get the number one pick in Week 18, I think he will still be their head coach because they don't want to have what happened to the Texans last year,
Right.
where what that and that was crazy. I don't think that I mean no one really cares about that once the season ends because you get to the playoffs. But like just looking back, that was a wild sequence of events, which I don't think that the Cardinals want to have happen to them. Although Caleb Williams, I guess his dad came out and said that depending on who gets the number one pick, he might stay in school, which to me, I read that as if the Cardinals get the number one pick, I'm staying in school. So who knows? Who knows?
I love that, and I don't blame him. I think Gannon's a one and done, honestly. Like, the
100%.
precedent has now been set. Uh, a total fraud. I
Total
think
loser.
everyone
Yeah.
everyone knew that in Philly last year, complete fraud. Guy was basically planning his head coaching staff while he was preparing for a Super Bowl that he didn't win. So, I actually think the Eagles defense is gonna be pretty good this year considering Sean Desai seems to be a capable head coach, or excuse me, defensive coordinator, and, most of the talent is coming back. But we'll talk little birds later on, but we do wanna hit a couple things. We'll give you a little bit of the rundown. Matt and I are gonna give you, ahead of week 1, super excited for NFL to be back tomorrow night, obviously. We're going to give you a couple things. First and foremost, we're going to go through the top 3 teams that you think you can be profitable on in the Sport Trade Super Bowl market. So, if you've been following Sport Trade content, you know that a team does not have to win a game, let alone the Super Bowl, in order for you to be profitable in our markets. You can trade out for 97% of the equity of that bet basically anytime. And we do actually keep these markets open during games. So major injuries for either side can either hurt or help your price point in that moment. If there's an opportunity to sell out, you can do that. So we'll go through some of those top 3 teams. I have no idea what Matt's going to pick. He has no idea what I'm going to pick. Then we're going to talk about some week 1 lines that we like. And then we are going to open up what I think could be just an internet sensation. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of the content creators out there, a lot of the Stephen A. Smith wannabes are out here firing off hot takes left and right. They don't even believe the bullshit they're throwing out there, but we do. So it's not a hot take, Matt. It's a spicy salvo.
Yes.
For those who don't know, a salvo is a hyper aggressive act or a discharge from a military tank. Both definitions, I think, work really well here. We're
Both
going to get
apply.
into some spicy salvos. Then I have a little surprise for Matt at the end. But Matt, we'll start at the top, which are the top 3 teams that you think can make you money on Sport Trade in the Super Bowl market. So I'll pull them up right now. I've got them here. The Bills price, for whatever reason, not showing on your screen, but they're $11 per share, which I believe is around like plus 760 ish, right around there.
Okay. So should I give my 3 or are we going one by one?
Let's go tit for tat. So you start with like, if did you order them like one,
I
two, three? Do you
I
just have
did
3?
I did
All
order
right,
them 1, 2, 3.
go 3, 2, 1. So start with 3.
Okay, so 3. All right. So just to give a little bit of a peel the curtain back, what I did for this exercise was basically look at teams, and this was not necessarily how we agreed upon it, just how I personally interpreted it. I looked at teams that have a soft schedule at the beginning of the season, so if we want an early cash out, we can. Aren't projected to be one of the best teams in the NFL. So I basically took out the top 5 to top 7, and are teams that I legitimately am high on. So teams that I actually like. So I chose as my third favorite would be the Chargers, which when I it could be a little different. They had the 10th best odds to win the Super Bowl when I looked at it yesterday, about plus 2,000. This part I think is a little square. I think a lot of people are kind of on this train, but I don't think you can really we can really put enough emphasis on just how much better their offense is going to be with Kellen Moore, who I do think is good, and also getting rid of Joe Lombardi, who I think is a total buffoon. I think that's going from like Gannon level to, I don't know, Sean McVay level, somewhere in between there. Their first 4 games, home against Miami, at Tennessee, at Minnesota, home against the Raiders. That's a 3-1 start. The 2 hard games. I mean, Dolphins made the playoffs last year. They could be good, but the Chargers smoked them last year. The Titans, I think you and I are both kind of high on them, but I also don't think we'd be surprised if they just simply weren't good. And the Vikings are a prime regression candidate. And the Raiders could be as bad as the Cardinals this year. That's a 3-1 start. I don't trust Brandon Staley. I think Brandon Staley has a case of shit for brains, solid case of having shit for brains. But I do think that the Chargers have enough outside of them that they could make a run. Like their offensive line, PFF has 9th best offensive line in the NFL. Really depends on the health of Rashawn Slater, who played like less than 200 snaps last year. If he comes back healthy, the guy who started in place of Rashawn Slater was good last year. Now they're starting left guard. At wide receiver, just need health between Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. If they're healthy, if they have one of those years where everything goes right, could be a top, 5 receiving core with adding Quentin Johnston. And I do think that like last year in week 2, Justin Herbert broke his ribs and had like a rib cartilage injury, which I don't think necessarily gets talked enough about, especially in the fantasy circle where he was a bad fantasy QB last year. So I think if the Chargers have a hot start, I think a lot of people are going to want to be on Justin Herbert, like MVP tickets and all that stuff, like young quarterback. I think this is his 4th year, finally making the leap. So I could see the Chargers being a team after a month of the season where everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, the Chargers, everybody's high on them every year. This is the year they finally put it together.
Yeah, I like that. I guess the only pushback I would have is so much of the market is determined by just that, right? Like what people think about the market. I think just being in the same division as the Chiefs sort of suppresses that market value. So I don't know how high they could possibly get, but I mean, you're getting them at a pretty premium price. It was what, plus 2,000. I just had it up here.
2,080 when I left.
Yeah,
when I had
plus
it.
2,080, which is $4.50 per share if you're doing it on a per share basis. So I can absolutely see them getting all the way up, but who's to say? Lee checking in. I'll never forgive Justin Herbert for ruining my fantasy team last year.
It's a fair point.
I just did a draft late last night in a super flex league, and I was able to grab Justin Herbert in the 2nd round. Felt great about it. Not that anybody cares.
Nice.
Okay, so my first team of 3 is not going to surprise anybody if we've talked in the last several weeks. I love the Seattle Seahawks this year.
They are my second team.
Absolutely love them. Now they have a bit of a tough schedule. From week 12 to 16 is one of the most brutal stretches I can remember in recent memory, but they're just $3 a share plus 31.69. And I'm going to jump the line a little bit here. We're going to be doing a home and home. So I'll be on your live stream tomorrow. We're going to do some season predictions, but I'll just tell you, I love the Seahawks to get the 2nd seed in the NFC this year. I love the 2nd seeded Seattle Seahawks. So tough stretch, week 12 to 16. They've got they host San Fran, at Dallas, at San Fran, home against the Eagles. Then they have to travel to Tennessee. That's brutal. But I do think they can get to 10 wins. And if they can go 3-2 in that stretch, I think they can get to 11 wins after that. So when I'm looking at sort of the futures markets in general, I like to look at a couple of things, Matt, which are obviously your quarterback play. I don't think Geno Smith is going to be a fluke. I look at your schedule and your rest advantages, and then your opponent's quarterback play. So here are the quarterbacks they'll be playing. This is an order from week to week. It's Stafford, Goff, Young, Dimes, Burrow, Arizona quarterback 1, whoever that ends up being, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Sam Howell, whoever is starting for the Rams by week 11. It's probably not going to be Matthew Stafford.
Probably not.
They're probably tanking in order to get Caleb Williams too. Brock Purdy twice, Prescott, Hurts, Tannehill, Pickett, and then the fourth string Arizona quarterback at that point. So I like to rank them like the quarterbacks that I am high on. Like to call them all the dogs. Those are the dogs. All right. So I have them facing 4.5 dogs this year.
Who's the half?
The half dog for me is Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
I just can't bring myself to make him a full dog. He's got,
that's fair.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm thinking. Seattle drafted very well the last 2 years, right? Their success is going to sort of hinge on the play of their tackles. Charles Cross was a high pick last year at left tackle. Bit of a rocky road, but he played better. They had a 3rd-round pick, played right tackle. I think with time, they're going to get a lot better. Defensively, that secondary could be really good if Witherspoon can get healthy. He's missed a lot of time in training camp. But they're sort of building like a Legion of Boom 2, very quietly under the radar. I like their schedule. I am way down on San Fran this year, which we'll talk about. So I love Seattle with that. So you said that was your number 2. So why don't we hop forward to your number 1, or if you want, I could just do my second one.
I'll do my number 1. I mean, I agree with you. I don't have much to add. We'll also get into the 49ers on my behalf as well. The only thing I'll add is that their first 4 games, which again, I want to look at just see like if you want to do a quick cash out. Home Rams, as you mentioned, even with Stafford playing, if Cooper Kupp's out, that team's going to be terrible offensive line. Yeah. Home Carolina at Giants, and at Detroit week 2. I missed that one. So I'm not high on the Lions this year. I think they're getting too much hype. I'm not high on the Giants this year for the same logic. So I see a 3-1 start. So yeah, I'm with you on the Seahawks.
Night Owl, you're our guy. You're always like, where is it on Android? You live in a state that doesn't have betting, so I don't know what to tell you.
Where's he?
But Sports Radio, I think he's in Florida. But yeah, we are, like everyone else who lives in New Jersey, come up to New Jersey in the summer and then go back down in Florida in the winter and then use the app. I don't know what to tell you, brother. All right. So my second team, maybe not that surprising, but I actually think there's some value here. Cincinnati Bengals, plus 991. But I think you should actually wait until week 3 to buy this. I think they're going to lose at Cleveland week 1. Joe Burrow has barely practiced. Obviously, he's coming off the calf injury. He just said like 20 minutes ago he's good. He's going to be playing in week 1. So I actually want to wait on this because I think you're going to get a much better number. It just sort of feels like this is their time, right? Burrow comes in. They go to the Super Bowl in year 2. They go to the AFC Championship in year 3 in a game where they lost to the Chiefs, Matt, by like that much. Like that was a great football game.
Awesome.
If Travis Kelce is indeed hurt, I don't know. Mahomes is amazing. He's probably the best quarterback ever. Top 3. I don't know. At some point, you've got to have somebody who can catch his throws. And this is something people have talked about, but like I do feel like the Chiefs are sort of pushing it a little bit here. I also don't think the Buffalo Bills are for real. The Bills are kind of like a Sea-Doo in Canada in December. It's like they're like the scene in Eastbound and Down where the kid is dry accelerating on land and Kenny Powers freaks out. Like their roster construction doesn't make sense to me in that they play in one of the coldest cities in America. You know they're going to have home games, but they can't run the ball. They're not interested in running the ball. And every year they kind of get physically beat up, and yet they don't address it. So I don't like them. I'm on the Bengals this year. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, honestly. And I think they're a great value. Once they lose in week 1, jump on them at a better number.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We'll talk about this tomorrow, but my official season predictions has the Bengals winning the Super Bowl. Wow. The only reason why I didn't have them is exactly what you said. I think they're going to start slow. Like Joe Burrow has never played in the preseason in his entire career. And he's always ended the season really well. He's always started the season slow. I'll never forget 5 interceptions against the Steelers last year. So yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't consider the Bengals was because A, they're already projected to be one of the best teams, and B, I don't think they're going to start hot. But if we did this segment in like, I don't know, 3 weeks from now, what team do you think starting from now could be some future value? Then I would go with the Bengals.
I assume this is a Cowboys fan. Diggs, BTW. Hey, what's up, G? Is that when your guys there, Modi?
No, not one of my guys. You think I would be guys with a Cowboys fan?
You just said the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl, so I don't know what to tell you. But what's up, Diggs? How are you? Okay, so my number one team. Now I just said that, but I'm telling you, my number one team that's going to be profitable is the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
The Dallas Cowboys are going to be the most profitable team in the Super Bowl futures market for many reasons, but one of them is I think they're devalued now, plus 1535. Worse odds than the New York Jets, who are not even going to, they may not make the playoffs this year. The NFC is terrible, as we all know. I don't love the head coach. Like Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl in 2010. That was 13 seasons ago with Aaron Rodgers. That was an ascending quarterback. He does not have an ascending quarterback. I love the roster. I think the roster is really good. Dan Quinn's defenses have been unbelievable. If not for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys would probably be the number one seed in the NFC. So I think they're going to get the first wild card, but they still could win 11 or 12 games. They will be undoubtedly, to me, the second best team in the NFC, which means they're going to get presumably what you would call an easier wild card matchup. And then they would avoid the Eagles in the divisional round. Maybe they host Seattle or something like that. Even though I said Seattle would be the second seed, they would go to a team like Seattle. Talent-wise, second best team in the NFC by far, in my opinion. I think this is a great opportunity to buy a Cowboys team that currently has value over plus 1,500. And then because they're the Cowboys, they're always going to see action. They're always going to see interest. So that number is going to be inflated. And I think their odds are going to get shorter. And that's when you can cash out for a lot of money, hopefully, for some time. Night Owl says, don't sleep on my boys, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, they're not one of my three, but I don't disagree with you. I mean, we're both Eagles fans. I don't think either of us would be shocked if the Cowboys won the division. Like everybody loves to say how no NFC East team has won back-to-back since 03-04. So the Eagles are better, but NFL is weird. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys had the top seed in the NFC. They're not on my list, but I don't disagree with you. My number one team, let's go with former Eagles head coach Dougie P and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No.
This is the most like Hollywood scripted formula that's happened like 6 years in a row in the NFL. Young quarterback takes a leap in his second and third year, which we'll get to that. But first, their first 4 games at Indianapolis, that's a W. Home against the Chiefs. If they play the Chiefs tough, they will be valued in the futures market, even if they lose. Then we're talking, where'd my notes go? Then we're talking home against Houston. That's a W. Home against Atlanta, who I think could be better than people think. I still think that the Jaguars win. But the model here is easy. Young quarterback takes a leap. And also part of that model is the team adds receiving weapons for that young quarterback. Last year, it was Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith takes a leap. They trade for A.J. Brown. Hurts takes a leap. Eagles go to the Super Bowl. The year before was Joe Burrow. Coming off an injury, they drafted Jamar Chase. T. Higgins takes a leap. Bengals go to the Super Bowl. Even Patrick Mahomes, who's in his own stratosphere, his second year in the NFL, they went to the AFC Championship game. Their third year, he took even better leap. They won the Super Bowl. Even before that, we all hate him now, but Carson Wentz took the second-year quarterback leap. He would have won MVP. Eagles won the Super Bowl. So I think everybody loves to like find that next Eagles, that next Bengals, that next Chiefs. And what you look at is a young quarterback who can take the leap. On that list is the Bears, who we kind of talked about privately. Neither of us are high on. Why not Trevor Lawrence? Like, would I be surprised at the end of the year if people are putting Trevor Lawrence in the Josh Allen, in the Joe Burrow, in the Jalen Hurts category? I wouldn't be surprised at all. Another year removed from the Urban Meyer mockery joke, whatever that was. So yeah, give me the Jaguars. Right now, they have the 12th best. Well, I guess when I checked yesterday, they had the 12th best odds, plus 2,700. Easy sell if the first 4 games Trevor Lawrence looks awesome.
Yeah, I guess my only thought is the AFC is just so loaded, right?
It's true.
It's kind of tough. Like I think their path is dependent on them winning the division. So like how many AFC teams are ahead of them? You have the Chargers, Dolphins, Ravens, Jets, Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs. They're the 8th highest odds in their own conference.
But if the Bengals start slow, if Travis Kelce's out for 2 weeks, like I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to end the number 1 team, but 8th best in the AFC now. If they go up to 6th or 5th, that's kind of the exact. I mean, to me, like the exercise teams that can be profitable, not necessarily teams that I think am going to win the Super Bowl. So that was kind of why I settled where I did. Like I'm not necessarily saying that these are the 3 best bets to win the Super Bowl, but 3 teams who I think you could make money on if you bet today and then cash out at whenever.
So run your list down for us once more.
So number 3, Los Angeles Chargers. I almost said San Diego. Number 2, Seattle Seahawks. Number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, my list was in order. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. Number 2, the Cincinnati Bengals. And number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. We are about 30-ish hours away here from kickoff of the new season. Cannot wait. To me, this is like Christmas in September. If I wasn't a Jew, and I am, so this is my Christmas. So, because I don't celebrate, but this is my favorite day of the year. It's finally here. NFL kicking off. There are a lot of week 1 lines out there specific to Sport Trade. Obviously, this is a Sports Trade show. We're going to talk about Sport Trade lines, but I will tell you if there are lines that are maybe a little better elsewhere. They pay me. I'm not a complete shill. I think it's important for price sensitive bettors to get the best price. Oftentimes you'll come to Sport Trade, but sometimes maybe you won't. That's okay. But we're going to run down some lines that we like in week 1. So I have a whole diatribe prepared for one NFC North team. So why don't you go first, Matt?
Sure. So I actually did a video on my YouTube channel yesterday, 3 week 1 NFL bets with Sport Trade. So I'm stealing from that video if you watched it. My favorite bet of the week, and these are best offered on Sport Trade. So you don't need a price shop unless odds change, which obviously happens all the time. But give me the Commanders minus 9.5. We already talked about how much of a joke the Cardinals are. As you mentioned, they just announced that their starting quarterback for week 1 is going to be Josh Dobbs. He's been there like less than 3 weeks. I'm not necessarily sure that they have that tough of an offense for him to learn. I do think that it's important that he's at least there with the team. So we did sell a couple points here. I think the main line is like -7 or 7.5. Give me them to win by double digits. Any self-respecting power rankings has the Cardinals as the worst team in the NFL. The Ringer and my favorite Eagles writer, Sheil Kapadia, has them as with the worst offense and the worst defense in the NFL, which is silly, it was very tough to do. And for the casual NFL fan, how many players do you think they can name on the Cardinals' entire roster? Okay, look, sorry. Who's going to be playing in week 1? So it doesn't count Zach Ertz and it doesn't count Kyler Murray.
Can I try? Let me try.
Let's see how many you can name. Not counting. So this is who is going to play in week 1.
Yeah. I'm going to assume either Clayton Tune or Josh Dobbs will play quarterback.
So it's going to be Josh Dobbs. The report came out today that it's going to be Dobbs.
Hollywood Brown. That's 2. Keep track. DJ Humphries.
Nice.
I assume Trey McBride because Zach Ertz is hurt.
Nice.
That's probably it. It's just Justin Pugh doesn't still play there. He's like 4.
I don't think the Syracuse
I don't
guard,
think he plays
James Conner.
Oh man. Oh yeah, of course, James Conner. Hey, that's 5. That's almost half their offense. Their wide receiver 2 is Rondale Moore, who I know, so that doesn't count.
Pew.
Yeah. So 6. I think that's all I got. Stevie Breston will probably be in the slot.
I don't know who that is. That a real person?
Come on.
From he's an older player.
Yeah, he's from
all right. I was gonna. Yeah. Okay.
Defensively, they have Budda Baker. They have. Oh man, I don't think I know a single linebacker. I don't think I know a single defensive lineman.
It's Budda Baker. That's
it. That's 7 guys. 7 of 22. Not great.
Not great. The Commanders. It's gonna all depend on Sam Howell. I think it doesn't really matter if he's good in week 1. I think that they could win 17-3. Like this is. I also like the under in this game. It's not one of my official picks, but I mean, come on. If you're telling me I can fade Jonathan Gannon in week 1 for plus money, I will take that opportunity.
So the under 37.5 at plus 102. That's $49 per share rather. That feels right because it feels like this Commanders offense is such an unknown. It was great that Sam Howell had an awesome preseason, but like they were playing their ones all preseason.
I know.
Right? Like they were trying to build camaraderie and like success to feel good going into this game. I don't think it's a question of will Washington win, right? Like that's reflected in the money line minus 306. But yeah, I mean, one of the cool things about Sport Trade, I'll show you right now, is we have basically every spread in total. So if you're confident in a certain number, then you just kind of find the one that's right for you. So I just type in WAS for Washington here, and we have basically every single point total available to you. Whatever you want, whatever you actually think it is, every alt strike is available. You can go and find it and bet the corresponding number. I have no idea what to think of this game other than I know the Cardinals suck.
Yeah. And again, the Commanders might not be good, but I can promise you they're going to look good after week 1.
Well, Eric Bieniemy is too busy yelling at them.
Yeah.
Stop being so mean, Eric.
Stop yelling at these professional athletes. Yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah,
I mean,
unbelievable. Okay,
Anyways.
so my first selection that I really enjoy, and I'll try to pick up the pace here a little bit. Packers Bears. For some reason, the Bears are favored by 2.5 in this game. I love the Packers in this spot. I love them to win outright at Soldier Field. Here's the interesting stat: since 2011, now this is an Aaron Rodgers stat primarily, right? Since 2011, the Bears are 3-23 against the Packers. And some of those wins I was there for. Aaron Rodgers did not play because he had a broken collarbone. So the Packers have completely owned the Bears of late. The hype is centered around Justin Fields, right? Last season, Justin Fields, Matt, averaged 149 yards per game passing. He was 27th in pass attempts last season. He has thrown in his career, 2 full seasons, 588 passes. Tom Brady threw 733 last year. This is a staff that doesn't trust him, has no interest in trusting him. Now, he completed 60% of his passes last year, but you have to look at what I love this stat. This is a completion percentage above expectation. So what that does is it takes out throwaways, spikes, end of half chucks, right? Those kind of things. It weighs the difficulty of throws, the accuracy of throws, etc. Can you guess where Justin Fields ranked in this stat, completion percentage above expectation last year?
I'm going to guess dead last.
Third from last.
Okay.
-5.5, which is really bad. So not an accurate thrower of the football. Obviously an unbelievable offensive weapon with his legs. Definitely not with his arm. Defensively, the Bears are horrible. They allowed 2,700 yards on the ground last year. They gave up 31 rushing touchdowns. And all they did this offseason was sign TJ Edwards, who you and I both know is a pretty good middle linebacker. Played for the Eagles last year. So they didn't do anything. I think Green Bay is just going to lean on the run game. David Bakhtiari, my guy, finally healthy after years of ACL stuff. He's finally healthy. Elton Jenkins finally healthy. The left side of that offensive line is going to be really good. Still have Aaron Jones. Still have A.J. Dillon. Dillon probably not coming back. They're going to run him into the ground this year, I think, in short yard situations. I just think this is a spot where the Bears are so unbelievably overhyped by everybody, including the market. This is a great spot for the Packers.
I'm with you. The only thing I'll add in favor of you, their offensive line, 4/5 is either completely new to the team or starting a new position. Their big name guard that they signed in the offseason isn't practicing, Nate Davis from the Titans. And really all they got on their offensive line to show from last year to this year is a rookie tackle, who we all know rookie tackles take a while. So yeah, I'm with you. Part of my picks was the Packers. To get the best value, I bought a couple points. I got them +2.5 at -127 on Sporttrade, but I'm with you on the Bears.
I did a very bad job of going to the game market. The Bears on the money line -120. The Packers are +106. Packers +2.5 is -120. So the market doesn't really seem to think that the Bears are going to be able to cover that as well.
It's because this happened before we hopped on. Both Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson missed practice today. So yeah, that's why the price went down. I'm guessing they're going to be fine and that'll shoot back up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things against the Packers. Their most veteran pass catchers are second-year guys, including all their tight ends. Like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. So real quick, I want to have this discussion about the Bears. So the Bears' overall win total is 7.5. That's available at -122. So the under is +110. So the market thinks this Bears team is probably going to win at least 8 or 9 games, which to me is ridiculous. They won 3 last year, so you're assuming 5 games of improvement. The first 5 weeks, they go Green Bay, at Tampa, at KC, versus Denver, at Washington. That could be 2 and 3, depending on how you feel about Denver. Then they go Minnesota, Vegas, at LA, at New Orleans, at home against Carolina, at Detroit, at Minneapolis, a bye. I have them at 4 and 8 going into their bye. So they would have to go 4 and 1 to hit this over. And I don't buy it. So give me the Packers money line. I said I was going to be more succinct and I was not. So the other game I really like is Falcons -3.5 against the Panthers. I'll make this super quick. I think the Panthers suck. I think they have the worst skill position players in the league. They went out and signed Adam Thielen. They went out and signed Miles Sanders. They went out and signed DJ Chark. I don't think it matters. I think their offensive line is terrible. They've got a pixie stick for a quarterback that I'm not super high on. And Atlanta is just going to run the piss out of the ball. So I think that's really all I have to look at. They have the 7th ranked offensive line by PFF. Arthur Smith keeps telling us exactly who he is. He's a guy who just wants to run the ball. They ran at 55.29% of plays last year, second highest in the NFL. Just drafted Bijan Robinson. That's not changing. So give me the Falcons -3.5.
Sure. I actually am on the opposite side. I like the Panthers this year. I like Frank Reich. I think Bryce Young is going to be a lot better than people think. The skill positions is definitely scary. But Marcus Mariota was terrible last year, and they still chose to start him for like 15 games over Desmond Ridder. So I think, they could run the piss out of the ball, but I also just don't trust Desmond Ridder at all. And I think Bryce Young could be better than people think.
Why do you think Frank Reich's a good coach?
Well, I mean, look at what he did in Indianapolis, having a different quarterback every single year. He won what?
But he brought them all in.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not saying Frank Reich is a good general manager. I think he's a good head coach. I mean, he won 10 games with Carson Wentz? I mean, he deserves a medal for that.
I mean, Doug Peterson won 13.
Yeah, that was before that was good Carson Wentz. I mean, I think Doug Peterson's a good coach too.
Doug's an amazing coach.
Yeah, Doug's great.
Do you have any more lines you want to touch on?
Yeah, I have one since we already talked Packers. I'll be real quick as well. Bills Jets under 46.5. Last year, this isn't perfect, but 2 games these two teams played 37 and 32 points. I think the Bills offense is a unit that I'm fading. The Jets defense is a unit that I'm buying. I'm not necessarily saying that in their first game are the Jets going to beat the Bills. I just think this game's going to be lower scoring. So give me under 46.5. I got it at -104 at Sport Trade. Looks like I was right on the market on that one. Now it's -108.
Yeah. So you got some CLV there right now.
Yeah.
Yep. I kind of agree with you there. My last one, Seahawks -5.5 against the Rams. I like that one for all the previously stated reasons that I'm on the Seahawks this year. The Rams have 30 undrafted free agents on their active roster.
I mean, that's what happens when you trade all your draft picks for 5 straight years.
Look, I'm not one to judge, but that's probably not going to go all that well.
They won a Super Bowl, so it worked out.
Hey, you know what? It totally worked out for them. That's fine, but no Cooper Kupp, not a Cam Akers guy. I've only heard of one of their offensive linemen, Matt Stafford, being held together by glue. I'm just out. So give me the Seahawks -5.5 against the Rams, and that is, let's see, -111. So there you go. You can get it at -110 elsewhere, but let's just stay home and do it here. My question for you before we get to spicy salvos. Eagles -3.5 on the road against the Pats this weekend. What do you think?
That's a no touch for me. It's Tom Brady's. They're recognizing Tom Brady. I think we talked about this before, but I will always fade a team. If it wasn't the Eagles, I would always fade a team that has 2 new coordinators heading into a season. I just don't think that we as the public really know how big of a deal that is. There were a lot of reasons why the Eagles, the first time around at post Super Bowl, struggled. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they lost Frank Reich and Chris DeFilippo to Doug Peterson leaned a lot on his coaching staff. We're not Gannon people, but we can at least say that when they played bad offenses, they smoked them. I think that had more to do with the talent, but you could at least rely on that. And I also don't think we can really know just how bad an offensive coaching staff of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge are. I mean, we do know because how bad the Patriots were last year. I'm not a Bill O'Brien guy, but that is definitely an upgrade. So that's just a complete no touch. To me, there's too many factors that make me pause about both teams that, if anything, I would honestly lean Patriots. But that spread opened at 5 or 4.5. So it's been bet in favor of the Patriots.
Go Birds. They cover. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Okay, so a lot of take artists out there like to throw out their hot takes. Matt and I are not fans. I'm not a big fan of the Stephen A. Smiths of the world. I don't care about debate shows. I think they're terrible. But I do like a little spicy salvo. So we've got some takes that we're going to get off here real quick. Again, they're not hot. They're spicy. They're caliente. So I don't know if you want to start here, Matt. I've got one that might blow your socks off, but I believe in this 100%. And that is that Daniel Jones, by the end of the year, will be considered a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I can't.
I love the Giants this year. I love them to go they're 7.5 is their total this year. I love them to fly over their total.
That's an under.
Continuity is king. Same coordinators, For the same reason you just said the Eagles could falter is why I think the Giants will be consistent. Same coordinators, same head coach, same offense. They add Darren Waller, who can actually catch passes. I think Danny Dimes going to have a great year. He's still spry enough to use his legs. Daniel Jones will be ranked ahead of Dak Prescott at the end of the year.
It's a bad salvo. It's a bad salvo.
Nope.
The Giants are a team that I'm fading this year. Yeah, sure. Continuity doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you don't have any talent. And Darren Waller will be good for the 10 games that he plays. Last year, they won a ton of one-score games against bad competition or the good teams they beat. They got super lucky, like that Ravens win, like the Packers win last year.
The Packers weren't good last year.
And they barely beat them, and they got lucky. They're they had multiple double-digit comebacks in the fourth quarter. That's just not something you can rely on. And who are all their receivers are slot guys. Every single one of them are slot guys. In their defense, Wink Martindale is just going to blitz a ton. They're going to get smoked on defensively. I cannot disagree with you more. I think that I'm not that I love Dak, but I'm out on Daniel Jones.
Okay, you're up.
All right, so I'm going in order of least spicy to most spicy.
Okay, this is good. This is like the take version of Hot Ones.
Exactly. So you can disagree with the order of the first two. The last one, I don't think so, but I am taking the Bills to miss the playoffs entirely. Do not make the playoffs.
That's your least spicy take?
Well, you can tell me. You can tell me if you think this is spicier than my second one.
Okay. I better get a glass of milk. Go ahead.
Well, I tweeted out, people better bring some milk.
Wow. Okay.
So every year there was a team that's supposed to be really good that's not. Happens every year. My prediction this year, it's the Bills. They have an insanely tough division. I don't think it's crazy to think that all four teams finish with a winning record. I'm not predicting that.
Okay.
The Patriots 2 years ago made the playoffs. You know what I mean? And that was with Mac Jones as a rookie. I'm not saying that both the Dolphins and the Jets are definitely going to be good. I'm just saying that's in the realm of possibilities. I think the variance on those two teams is probably as high as any other team in the NFL. Part of this is me refusing to let go of my NFL draft take that I'm not a Josh Allen guy. He has clearly proven me wrong, but I don't love quarterbacks that are inconsistent like him. He has those games 2 years ago against the Chiefs, best quarterback you'll ever see on a field aside from Patrick Mahomes. And then you'll have games like in the playoffs last year against the Bengals where he was terrible. Just too inconsistent for my liking, too many turnover-worthy plays. There's already weird stuff going on with Stephon Diggs. I don't love the fact that happens before the season even starts. It's not to the same level, but gives me Terrell Owens doing sit-ups in his driveway type vibes. Again, not to the same level, but just that type. Their defense last year was completely different without Von Miller. He's on the PUP list. Maybe, the defense comes live and ends the year as good as they were at the beginning of last year. I just think that could be too little too late. Bills missed the playoffs. I got it at plus 200 when I locked it in. That was at Bet MGM. Yeah, spicy salvo. Bills missed the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. Do your next one, and I'm just going to tell you, it's 95 degrees in my house right now. So I'm going to run real quick, turn on the air conditioning.
Sure.
You go.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right.
This is professional right here.
Yes, of course. Of course. So my next spicy salvo, which I wish Dan was here to listen to, the Seahawks win the NFC West. Based on how we were talking earlier, I'm guessing it's not that much of a surprise to him. But the 49ers, just a total group of losers. And I have notes to call them the 40 whiners, but I forgot to mention that. The way that they cried and just were total petulant babies post-loss in the NFC Championship game, I think is terrible. I think that so my next take, which you actually might agree with, so probably it's not going to be as spicy. Seahawks win the NFC West, which I think you agree with.
I'm on board.
So I can think of two examples where a team in the offseason made such a mockery of something the way that the 49ers did, losing both of their quarterbacks. Matt Nagy with the double doink, just a total sham kicking competition that entire offseason. Bears never survived. The Saints with the missed defensive pass interference call. They literally changed the rule so Sean Payton could clean his diaper. And the following year, they lost in the playoffs at home in the wildcard round to Kirk Cousins. Imagine losing to Kirk Cousins at home in the playoffs.
Couldn't. I've never seen it.
couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
we already talked about why we're high on Seattle. I just think that you cannot survive a head coach and GM being so uncompetitive losers, complaining the way they did after a loss. Maybe don't try blocking the Eagles' best pass rusher with your third string tight end. Just a thought. And then the quote, so when the schedule came out, I'm sure you saw this. Kyle Shanahan said that he was glad that they're playing the Eagles later in the season because at the beginning of the year, he doesn't think they'd be fully healthy, which like he's already coming up with an excuse about why they might not be good. How about trusting your guys, being like, I don't care when or where we play them. I'm ready for the competition. But he already just such a loser. They're going to lose a quarterback due to injury because that's just what happens to the 49ers. You cannot sell me on Sam Darnold. So Seahawks win the NFC West.
Yeah, they're the biggest losers ever. Brandon
100%.
Ayuk can just shut up already.
Deebo Samuel.
Mine kind of piggybacks off of that. So my spiciest salvo is I think the Niners go maybe 9-8, and that's because their division is bad.
Yeah.
I'm a Brock Purdy truther in that I don't think he's very good. I think you have to look at the defenses they played last year in the games that they won when he was at quarterback, which was Miami, who was 27th against the pass. Tampa was 10th. Seattle was 14th. They beat them twice. Washington was 4th. He played pretty well that day. Vegas 29th. Arizona 24th. Minnesota 31st. Like, I get he doesn't have to be good in order for them to be great, but I'm not sold on him at all. I think Brock Purdy stinks. I think Sam Darnold could probably come in and take over that job. What else do you have?
So my spiciest take. I don't think you're going to agree with this one.
Okay. No, I'm still recovering from your Bills to miss the playoffs.
All right.
So
I have two.
That's why I had to go turn on the air conditioner because it got so hot in here. I was perspiring.
Sure. So I have two Super Bowl winner predictions. My team, my official pick, who I actually think is going to win, and my sleeper pick. The New York Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. You heard it here first.
I'm out. Nope. I'm completely out. I'm completely out on this.
So, all right. Last year, Zach Wilson was their quarterback. You remember that, right? Zach Wilson?
I'm aware.
I don't think that we can properly gauge the difference going from Zach freaking Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. I'm just letting that be known. Last year, a bad version of Aaron Rodgers, the Packers had the 12th best offense in the NFL, according to DVOA. Better than the Seahawks and better than the Cowboys. The Jets were 29th. I'll say one more time. They're going from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. Defensively, give me the Jets to have the best defense in the NFL. Sauce is a stud. Quinnen Williams is a stud. Last year, they were 6th in DVOA. This year, I think they're going to be number 1. I don't necessarily think that DVOA takes this into account, but I also know that there were a zillion times where their Jets offense put them in a terrible, terrible position. We've seen recent history of a veteran quarterback coming to a new team and immediately winning the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady and Matt Stafford. I'll probably put Aaron Rodgers somewhere in between those two quarterbacks. I'd probably put the Jets team as a whole on par with the talent level of both of those teams. I think better than that Rams team, to be honest with you. Concern is among the offensive line. I'm not going to necessarily say that their offensive line is going to be good, but between Dwayne Brown and between Mekhi Becton, hopefully they have a serviceable left tackle. I know Joe Douglas has put a ton of resources into the O-line, so maybe someone somewhere pops among the offensive line. Skill positions, probably the best Aaron Rodgers has had in his career. Garrett Wilson is very good. I like Dalvin Cook. I like Breece Hall.
Do you remember those wide receiver groups from like 5-6 years ago on the Packers? Come on.
What, Jordy Nelson and
Donald Driver, Randall Cobb, Jermichael Finley. Like, come on.
Jermichael Finley had a neck injury.
You don't even believe this. You don't even believe this take.
Yes, I do. I absolutely do.
Do you think Zach Wilson's mom's friends are upset that a more age-appropriate quarterback is now playing for the Jets?
Probably. Well, no, I think they're happy because Zach Wilson probably has more time for them. Zach Wilson is Alex Moran. That's true. Is Alex Moran from Blue Mountain State. He doesn't actually want to play quarterback. He wants to be the backup.
That's true. That's a great response. I don't believe in that at all, and that's fine. Maybe that's my own Aaron Rodgers bias. Maybe.
So, do you not like him as a person, or do you just think he's washed?
Wow, tough question. Column A, column B, maybe.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I
sick
think
of.
outside of Garrett Wilson, there's not a lot of talent at wide receiver. Alan Lazard, like, give me a break. Tight end, I don't think they have a whole lot. Brees Hall is coming off an ACL. Dalvin Cook. I mean, they gave Dalvin Cook $7 million, right? So, like, Brees Hall is not going to get 20 carries on Sunday.
Yeah, but
I think, and no, who knows how much Cook's got left? He's a 29-year-old running back, right? Like, the data always shows 28 and older is a sharp, steep decline, right? So, I mean, hey, it's a spicy salvo. It was spicy, not nearly as spicy as Bills missing the playoffs.
So you think that the Jets are more likely to win the Super Bowl than the Bills are to miss the playoffs?
No.
So it would be spicier then. You said not nearly as spicy, but
I guess if that's how we're rating it, I guess that
spice level. Yeah.
Okay.
Spice level.
To wrap things up, Matt, we're going to hit you with a surprise draft. So we're going to get 5 picks. We're going to go back to the futures market on Sports Trade because the season starts on Thursday. We're going to go back and forth. So you get to draft a team in the futures market, and then we'll see once we get closer to the playoffs whose portfolio has increased the most. So you're the guest. I'll give you the first pick.
All right, I've done zero prep for this, which is always good for a draft. That's how you know things are going. Okay, all right. I will take my first pick. I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars, #1 overall.
Okay, Jaguars #1 going off the board at $3.50 per share. With my first pick, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals, $9 per share.
Okay. With my second pick, I will take the Kansas City Chiefs because of the Chiefs, and really no other analysis needed.
Sure. I'm going to take the Eagles. So I've got the Eagles and the Bengals. You have the Chiefs and the Jaguars.
I will take the Cowboys because I agree with your take that they're going to be overvalued.
Okay. Let's see. So now you're left with the Bills, who I don't believe in, the Niners, who I don't believe in, the Jets, who I don't believe in. Let's see. The NFC is weak. I don't believe in the Lions either. Give me, see, the market doesn't care about the Saints. You know what? Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want the Steelers.
I like it. All right.
$2.40. I think the Steelers are not even a dark horse, a midnight horse to win the AFC North. So give me the Steelers.
I like it. I mean, Kenny Pickett goes into like the young quarterback category, taking a lead.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take the Seahawks. NFC team.
Son of a.
I thought you were going to take them next.
Well, I was scrolling. Let's see. Wow. Don't want any of them. Okay. Let's go back up to the top of the board here. Oh boy. Man. Okay. So this is my fourth pick. I'll take the Dolphins. I think Dolphins have an outside chance of winning that division. Give me the Dolphins at plus 1862. So I've got the Dolphins, I've got the Eagles, I've got the Bengals, and I've got the Steelers. So this is your last pick.
My last pick, morally, I don't like it, but I can feel it. The Cleveland Browns.
Okay, so your team is the Chiefs, the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
The Jaguars, the Seahawks, and the Browns. Okay.
Yep.
So I've got one more pick here. I have the Steelers, I have the Dolphins, I have the Bengals, and the Eagles. Wow, we're really gonna leave the Bills on the board, I guess.
Well, once they miss the playoffs, they're not even gonna be an option.
That's true. That's true. All right, for my last pick, the Saints at $3 are gonna win their division.
Ugh, no,
they're gonna host a first round game.
No, they're not.
They will. All right, I'll take the Saints. The NFC is just so bad. All right, so I'll take the Saints. So there you have it. Matt Modi, thank you for 50 minutes of your time. We'll be doing a home and home, so I'll be back on your show tomorrow, previewing Thursday Night Football and some season-long stuff that we haven't touched on today. Thank you, sir. Any parting salvos? They were spicy, but anything parting?
Parting salvos. I'm out on the Saints. Could not be more out on the Saints.
Okay.
That's my parting salvo.
All right. Plug everything where you can find your stuff at.
Yeah. So I would say start with Twitter because I'm doing a bunch of stuff for a bunch of different places. Twitter is the easiest way to find everything. At Jedi Modi on Twitter, at any other social media. Follow me there and you'll find anything that you're interested in.
All right. And you can find all my stuff at Sport Trade because that's what I do. Matt, thanks so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow over on your YouTube channel.
Yep. Peace.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.